Well, hello there. Out here on a rainy afternoon after work to try and get some miles in. I'm, as you can probably tell, out at Leita Thompson again. Go to midweek hike, I guess. But anyway, like I said, it's rainy out today, and since my mother chastised me for skipping Saturday's opportunity when I had time, as I said, but you know, the rain kept me from getting out on the trail. She said, "I thought you were doing this to be out there in all conditions." And I'm like, I guess low 40s and heavy downpours should not be enough to deter me. So this afternoon's rain, in spite of it, I'm out here gonna see what we can do about getting it done. Got some rain gear with me in case it does decide to open up on me, but Mom, I'm not letting it stop me. One thing about hiking in the rain is you definitely get the trail to yourself, even if it's a popular spot for an afternoon hike. I think I've seen 2 people out here so far, and they were scrambling to get back to the parking lot so they could get out of the rain. But I'm still out here. Did go ahead and break the rain gear out since it was starting to come down a little bit heavier. The canopy of the tree is not quite keeping me sheltered. So far the trail's not in too bad a shape. A few muddy areas, but overall the condition is good. There's more rain, heavier rain expected tonight and tomorrow, so good that I can get out here while I can. Well, I'm almost done. I'll keep this short and sweet. It's been a quick hike. Got my 5 miles in. Been in the drizzling rain pretty much the whole way. So a quick one, solitary one. Very few people out here, as I mentioned. But I'm dedicating this evening's hike to my mother. Mom, you reminded me that part of this journey that I've set for myself is not to avoid adverse conditions, but to embrace them as part of what I'm going through. So tonight I've done that with you in mind. So closing it out here. Thanks again for coming along, and we will see you all on the next trail. Well, hello there. It's another glorious spring Saturday as I stumble along the trail here, and I'm taking advantage of the weather and my time today to head up to Amicalola State Park. No, I'm not doing the Appalachian Trail, but I am doing one of the signature trails out here in North Georgia, the Foote Hike In Trail. I'll be taking that stretch up, connecting up to the Appalachian Approach Trail, and then circling back down to near the Amicalola Lodge. So looking like it might be around a 10-mile day today. With the weather out here and the popularity of this area, I expect I might see a few folks out, and I'll enjoy engaging with them. But for now, I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other on the ascent, which is the first portion I've got here. This time I actually chose to take the longer, more gradual ascent and leave the sharper descent for my second half of the loop as I head back down. So anyway, it's looking to be a great day out here. I'm looking forward to it, and I will share with you as we head along the trail. Well, continuing on, it's been mostly treed in, but looks like I might have a slight break here at a scenic spot, so we'll see if we can't avail ourselves of a nice view laid out below us here. It does just sort of stretch on forever, doesn't it? These are some of the reasons why I'm out here hiking. Well, I'm about halfway to the hike end, roughly a quarter of the way of my total distance today. It's been a very pleasant hike so far. The ascent has not been too grueling, but just sort of steady. Been a few people I've passed coming back from the direction of the inn, and one group that seems to be out here for the day headed towards the inn that I passed moving a little bit faster than they were. But yeah, it hasn't been quite as crowded as I thought it might be, but then again, I got a slightly later start than a lot of people probably did. It was almost noon by the time I hit the trail. So anyway, the woods have been, as you can see here, fairly open, nothing too closed in. Gives me good kind of views out in the distance, even though nothing that's going to come across well on camera. But I can see the mountains all around, and makes for some nice vistas to gaze out upon as I'm hiking along. But, not much else to report, so I'm gonna keep it brief. Just wanted to do a check-in as I continue along the way. Looks like I've got my first water crossing of the day. Doesn't look like it's going to be too challenging, but as always, I take caution in my approach, and I never trust a rock. Too many stealth rocks that I've encountered. So, and we are safely across. Looks like I have a bit of an uphill going here, but it looks like some rough stairs have been formed to help out, so I'll take advantage of those. Well, the trail here is starting to get more of that traditional green tunnel look that is the Appalachian Trail is so well known for, and given our proximity to that famous trail, it's understandable that we'd start seeing similar characteristics. As I've been getting closer to the hike end, I've started to see an increase in the amount of traffic coming back from that direction, so I'm guessing probably folks that started their day hike a little bit earlier in the morning and are now making their way back towards the lodge. But it's still continuing to be a very enjoyable day out here today. I did stop for a few minutes, took the pack off, had a snack and some water. One of the things I've realized that on some of my longer hikes I'm not doing as often as I should, and I need to be a little bit more mindful of getting the practice of taking those periodic sit down breaks just for a few minutes, let the legs refresh a little bit and make sure I'm hydrating. So got to be mindful of that. But just wanted to share a little bit of the trail now that the nature of it has changed a little bit from the open woods that I had on the other side of the ridge into now this more closed in, as I said, green tunnel type of look. Looks like I've got another water crossing here, fortunately with a railing to guide me by, so I'll make my way across that before I go ahead and close out this section of the video. And now I will continue on. Getting closer to the end at this point. I'm not sure exactly how far away I am, but the terrain is definitely getting wetter. The board path that I just followed is over some definite water retaining areas, and then of course there's this lovely stream I'm happy to take a bridge over. As you can see, both upstream and down, with it being the cool water running by, the shade from the trees. Definitely a few degrees cooler along the trail here, and I'm appreciative of the break from the heat. But I'm continuing on, and we'll see what lies ahead of us at the end when we get there. Well, I don't know if you can see it back behind me there, but my first glimpse of the hike in. I'm still just a short way up the trail from it, but this was my first glimpse of it, and don't know how crowded it's going to be when I get up there, or how much footage I'll be able to take, but we will share as we can, give you all a sense of what I see up there. But for now, I will continue my approach and head on up there. Here you get a little better view of the inn as I come upon it. Seems kind of quiet for now, so I'm trying to respect that atmosphere. Well, I just left the hike in. I took a little break there, had another snack, sat in one of the chairs there on the patio area, and slowly a few other people trickled in. We had a nice little gathering of those of us at midpoint on our hikes, and all of us taking a break, sharing a little bit of our experiences. It was a nice respite from the trail, a little oasis in the middle of the woods, and I appreciated it. I try to be respectful of the fact that they generally have a no electronics policy there, mainly for those staying there. It is meant to be, as I said, a bit of a retreat, and they kind of take that off the grid approach to things. But I'm back on the trail now. Got about 1 mile left on the Foote hike trail before I get to the Appalachian approach trail, and I'll start heading back down from there, heading back towards the lodge area and trailhead where I parked. So I'm gonna get back to it here as we're heading into the middle of the afternoon. I'm sure the shadows will start extending a little bit, and hopefully the temperatures will stay nice and moderate like they have been. But back to the trail, and we will catch you further along. Well, I just left the junction. I'm now on the Appalachian Approach Trail. Met a young family there, a couple with 2 very young boys that are out here section hiking the AT. They all had their bag tags on, showing that they were registered hikers. they were looking at 3.5 miles to go to get to Springer, and trying to figure out if they were going to get there today or if they're going to stop at one of the shelters between here and there. I wish them the best of luck. Anyway, I'm continuing on, heading down now. I think I've got one more little ascent, and then it's all downhill from here. So it's going to be fairly steep, so I need to make sure my footing, but we will check in as we can along the way. Yeah, continuing along, I'm starting to see quite a few people out here starting on their thru hike. I've passed about 4 different either singles or group or couples that are out here. One mother with her probably 8 or 9-year-old son, it looked like, and younger couple of guys, and a single. And then I just passed a gentleman who is actually starting out on the Benton Mackay Trail, which has a common junction starting point with the AT. So it is definitely making me a little envious of them out here taking that opportunity, and you know, just increasing my desire and my hope that I get a chance to do it one day, hopefully not too far off. Anyway, continue on. I think I'm past the last peak now, and pretty much just downhill from here. So, well, I'm about 3/4 of the way through the hike, sitting at just about 7.5 miles. Continue to see a steady trickle of hikers coming up from the lodge area and the falls, and quite a decent percentage of them look like they are thru hikers. So I'm anticipating, given time of day, they're probably either looking to just get to Springer today, or possibly not even that far, maybe camp at the Black Rock shelter just before Springer. But you know, I wish each of them luck as they pass me by, offer them encouragement, and you know, my little bit of envy just keeps growing. I gotta figure out a way to make that happen. Well, I'm just about down to the bottom. That descent was a bit intense. In fact, there was one gentleman that was behind me, out ahead of the group he was hiking with a little bit, and I heard a noise, and as I looked around behind me, he had taken a tumble off the trail into the brush on the side. Someone was right there next to him to help him out, and he seemed okay, so continued on. But yeah, just a indication you can't take those downhills incautiously. You got to be careful, as I always try to be. And again, I love these things. I will not hike without them. They have saved me so many times, and they make those ascents and descents much more manageable. Anyway, I'll close it out when I get to the end, but for now, just wanted to touch base one more time. Well, I made it back to the lodge area. Wonderful view out behind me, as you can see. Makes me wish I was staying here. Anyway, I have completed it. Got just over 10 miles in today. Wonderful hike. Saw lots of people out here. Saw lots of people starting their thru hike of the AT, and you know, just had a wonderful experience. You know, glad I had an opportunity on a beautiful Saturday to come out here and do this. And thank you all for coming along with me. I'll close it out here, and we'll see you on the next trail. Well, hello there. Out here for a Sunday hike. I've come back up to Red Top Mountain, doing the Red Top Mountain Loop, which seems to encompass most of the Homestead and Sweet Gum loops. So it's a little bit more overcast than it was yesterday. Temperatures are still moderate, and I anticipate that there'll probably be a few folks out here. Trails are in good condition so far, even though we had some overnight rain come through, but nothing in the forecast for today, so I anticipate a pleasant day of hiking. Looking to get about 5.5 miles in today. and we will check in along the way as we go. For now, well, I'm enjoying the hike out here so far. It's a nice, pleasant day. One thing I wanted to comment on is, as I've mentioned, I'm repeating some locations over the course of this year, obviously, due to, practicality and necessity. And one of the things that is interesting is I'm getting to see the trails through the different seasons of the year. Last time I was up here at Red Top on this particular stretch, the trees were still quite barren, hadn't gotten their spring growth, but now everything's exploding in green. You can see, the foliage is starting to become quite full, and makes the trails themselves a little bit more shaded, a little bit cooler, which is pleasant to experience. The birds have been quite active, been hearing lots of songs and calls as I've progressed along, and makes for a nice little serenade as I progress along the trail. The lake is calm today, if you can see it at all through the trees. Just a very gentle breeze, keeping the air from being too still and creating, slight ripples across the surface. But pleasant day all around out here right now. I see someone on a boat out there enjoying the water sports activities on the lake. But I'm gonna continue on with my hike and experience it in my own way. Well, I'm about halfway through, just past about 2.8 miles, so mostly completed the circuit around the peninsula that the trail loops around north into the lake area, and starting to circle back down towards the southern visitor center. I actually this time started at the newer visitor center, which is located just a little bit north and more midway along the trail. So it's been a good hike so far. There's been a few people out here, but it hasn't been too terribly trafficked. Seen lots of dogs out here enjoying the day with their owners, so that always brings a smile to my face. Makes me miss my companion. Buddy's been laid up a bit for the last couple weeks. He had minor surgery to remove a cyst from the top of his head, and so he's been recovering from that and haven't really been able to bring him out on the trail. So hopefully another week or so, maybe we'll get him back out here. But I'm continuing along. The trail conditions are great, and can't beat the weather. It doesn't need to be sunny when I'm under all the canopy, so a nice overcast day that's got nice moderate temperatures just means I can keep going on and on, as I'm gonna do. We'll check in with you later. Just finished the southern loop, which took me down by the trading post. Came back around on the Osprey Loop, and I'm now getting ready, or I'm actually on the Sweet Gum Loop as I start to make my approach. Still a little ways off, but looping back towards the visitor center. Starting to see a few more people out here, taking advantage of the day. Lots of people out getting their recreation and exercise and appreciation of nature. So, and I can definitely appreciate that interest as I share it. Anyway, I'm continuing on. Looks like I'm going that way. Well, I'm fortunate enough to once again be able to do my closing thoughts with a picturesque backdrop, so I'm taking advantage of it. It's been a good day out here. I'm almost back to the visitor center, and so I'm gonna, wrap it up. Gotten about 5.5 miles in, maybe just a hair over that, and have enjoyed myself. It's been a good day. After yesterday's a little bit more exertive hike, it's been nice to just come out here, not exactly take it easy, but take the intensity level down a notch. So getting some more miles behind me, and I think today actually puts me back in the green after a long stretch of being in the red on my distance tracker. So I'll close it out here. Thanks again for coming along with me, and we will see you on the next trail.